Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we have with us one of our local friends, David, finally joining us on the show.
How's it going?
Keeping it low-key, I like it.
Yeah. He's got to bring Adrian down.
Don't let that enthusiasm come through too heavy there.
David is who I went on the 14er a couple weeks ago with. And he dragged me up a fucking mountain for like
Two mountains
for like all day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's because he asked, and you were like, okay. So I don't know drag if drag is the right word.
Yeah. Jeff volunteered.
Yeah, you signed up for that shit.
He was, yeah.
I completed.
He volunteered his tribute.
I completed.
Yeah.
It's no one's fault but your own if you didn't know what you were getting into.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to do 4 here in a month, so you want to come?
Maybe in like 2 weekends from now.
Is that the 12th of August?
I think so.
Then that's when I'm going.
Wait, you said you're doing 4 this month?
Well, no, there's 4 that are literally right next to each other.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So I've done 2. Now I can just do 4 in the same day.
Yeah.
No problem.
No
Yeah,
problem.
you can do 6. You'll be real experienced.
Yes.
You'll be Mountain Man Jeff.
Yeah. Now we know what I'm going to sign off with at the end of this podcast.
If you do 6, you'll have done more than 10% of the 14ers in the state of Colorado.
Some of those require heavy climbing gear that I doubt I will ever be prepared for.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is 100% true.
So who is David besides our friend?
Well, he is our friend. He is also in your
Said
Blood Bowl
besides
league.
that.
Yes.
He's also in the Blood Bowl league with you and Ant.
We have to ask him questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I was leading to.
Fair enough. It's been a while since I had a new guest on. I don't know how to do this stuff anymore.
Everyone clearly knows who everyone is. So
Correct.
Yeah.
So, David, real quick, then, how about you take a second and tell us about how you got into board gaming?
Okay.
Give us a little background.
So when I was growing up, I played Risk a lot with my dad and eventually got real tired of what tends to happen in Risk, which is that you go through and, everybody's eliminated but 2 people, and then they just go back and forth rolling dice for an hour, and then someone finally wins.
Mercifully.
Yes, somebody mercifully wins. And then kind of took a break from board games at that point because I was in college and wasn't spending a lot of time with that. But then eventually made my way out here to Denver, and we got...
And you are from?
I'm originally from Texas.
Texas.
But yeah, bounced around the country for a bit and then came here. I had played Ticket to Ride, and I was looking for stuff to do. It was like, board game sounds good. So I went knowing pretty much nothing but Ticket to Ride is my new board game, and then learned everything else from there.
How I assume the game night group.
Yes.
How long ago did you join the game night group?
I joined, I think, 4 or 5 months after it started,
Gotcha.
actually.
Long-time veteran.
Yes.
Yeah, David's been coming for a real long time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A little over 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
I'm the newbie to the game night group, really.
Yep.
Although, hell, not anymore. We have so many new people that show up like all the time now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Who's our newest regular?
I think Paul's newer than you.
Yeah, I guess Paul. Paul counts. Fuck Paul, but
Correct.
Yeah.
This is not a non-factual statement.
Yeah. Cool. And now you like board games.
Yes. Typically, I like very thematic board games. I'm usually pretty good with dice rolling. Adrian and I have pretty opposite tastes on board games.
It's good that your guys are on the opposite side
It
of
is
the table.
100% correct.
Yeah.
Welcome to our side of the table, David.
Yeah.
There's the Adrian side, quarter, really.
Yeah.
Although David is the outlier in that he is the only one of the 4 people in this room who does not absolutely love terraforming Mars.
That is true.
You like...
I'm not entirely sure he has a soul because of that single fact.
He has not played the corporate era, which is more interactive,
Fair.
but also it is not a very interactive game.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's another thing that I much prefer either 100% co-op games or games that are mostly co-op with like maybe a trader, like Betrayal, House on the Hill, or I also like Fury of Dracula where it's all V1. But for the most part, if I'm playing a competitive game, I want to feel like I'm competing with other players and not just solitaring and seeing who did the best.
You want heavy interaction. Heavy fuck you.
It doesn't have to be like unfair fuck you.
Okay.
But
like unfair?
That's what I meant. Yes. It doesn't need to be like unfair. Like I'm going to shit all over you.
Well, he was asking if it was the game unfair.
Yeah, no. I know. I haven't actually played with y'all, so I don't know. I've only heard about how fuck you that game is.
There is some interaction in that game.
There is
a small amount.
Yes.
Yeah. But yes, it does sound like something that I would enjoy.
We should play it again. I
Yeah.
like that game a lot.
Yeah, it's a solid game.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's everything we ever needed to know about David.
Correct.
Besides that, he is also on our Blood Bowl league.
Yes.
You did not make the playoffs.
I did. Well, I'm playing first season Nurgle.
Yeah,
Which, if you're not familiar with Blood Bowl, that means I'm going to lose a lot until my guys get skilled up. So I'm looking forward to season 3 here.
Yeah.
Playing the long con.
Yeah.
Season
And-
1's rookie year.
Yeah.
Year 2's like, I don't know, also a rookie year. At the end of
yeah.
season 2.
Yeah. I'll be ready to go.
Yep.
Be ready to crush some skulls.
Yes.
And then they do a reset.
If Ant does a reset before I get to play a third season Nurgle team, I might just quit. I spent 2 seasons struggling, accepting that I'm going to lose every game, and he's just like, no, we're good.
Yep.
Let's all hard reset. No teams can come back.
But we do have the option to bring back our first team from like the first 3 seasons
Yes.
for the next season if we would want to.
Are you thinking of doing that?
I don't know. My orcs are doing pretty well, but the humans I have skilled up very well. I like that team a lot.
Well, you got plus strength on an ogre.
Yeah, but I haven't gotten doubles for block yet.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well, no, you had doubles, but you took strength. You got greedy.
that's true. But he's strength 6 now, so that's pretty great.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jeez. So we've all played Blood Bowl now
We have.
because Adrian played Blood Bowl.
I played Blood Bowl years ago. That wasn't my first time playing.
You recently played Blood Bowl.
I recently
again.
played Blood Bowl.
I heard it was a quick game.
Yeah,
Just 30 minutes, I think. Something like that.
brief little 4-hour, 30-minute game.
Probably the longest game of Blood Bowl I've heard of.
About on par with every game of Blood Bowl I've ever been a part of.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I played a playoff game in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the longest game I've played, I was playing with a guy from our league, and we were at his place, and we just kind of hit it off. And like after every turn, we'd talk for like 15 minutes.
That was a big part of the problem. Ann and I were bullshitting about a lot of other things, and like even bullshitting about Blood Bowl things, like really breaking down like odds and of like everything you could do, and
Yeah.
talking long-term strategy.
Well, I mean, that definitely makes sense. Ant is real into Blood Bowl. So.
Yeah.
And odds.
Yes, he likes the. Well, I mean, if you're that into Blood Bowl, I feel like you need to learn the odds.
Correct.
I'm pretty casual about Blood Bowl. I'm like, oh, this particular die roll, this single time, I know the odds for that. But he's like, oh, I did all these rolls, and then it was a such and such odds of success, and I did it. I'm like,
0.25% chance
Yeah.
of happening.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Good times.
Indeed.
So before we move on, we should explain to everyone what we're drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone wants to know how much we drink and what it is.
It's a little bit boring this time.
Yeah.
Zach has been sick, so Zach.
Since like the day after we recorded last week.
Yep. So I'm drinking green tea.
Tasty.
Yep.
I am drinking the Eddie Line Crank Anchor
Shocking.
IPA again. Yep. It's real tasty.
I am once again drinking Dragon's Milk. And based off last week, 1 will be enough.
I am just as boring as Zach. I've got water.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
But you brought peach cobbler.
Yes, I did.
Which
Which
was
we
the-
already ate. It was
Yeah.
delicious.
Indeed.
Nice little pre-show snack there.
Yeah.
Lull us into a false sense of security.
Yep.
We're all going to die within 24 hours.
I mean, I ate it too, but you guys didn't see me put my food into the bowl. I could have poisoned it after.
I mean, I saw you reach your hand into it and grab some and just eat
Zach.
it.
Don't give away my gambit here, all right?
Well, no, what we,
Adrian and Jeff didn't know.
well, what we didn't see is when you went into the bathroom and took the little vial of antidote
Yes.
and drank that.
Very true.
I mean, I saw that, but
Zach and I
just
go
going
to
to
the
the
bathroom.
bathroom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we go to the bathroom together a lot. So.
we're really good friends.
Oh, dear.
All right.
So, David, you're the guest. What have you been playing recently?
I've been, unfortunately, not playing too many games recently. I've been busy, but I played Spires with Adrian this week, which didn't go well for me. Basically, I tried to do. I feel like I lucked into second place. Everything I tried to do, I was thwarted and did not go well. And then we played Fury of Dracula yesterday, which I guess we'll talk about.
Yes.
And then I played Eldritch Horror, I guess, last week
Right
with the Dreamlands expansion.
Nice. Still need to play that.
Yeah, I don't think I've really played with any of the Eldritch expansions before.
Even having almost all of them, I've only done it a couple times. So
It's the specific conditions you need to use some of those boards and things like that. Besides the cards.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for Dreamlands, we set out to do Dreamlands, so we're like, we're going to play Hypnos so we can play on the board because they got it that week, I think. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do next time. Be like, I want to play this one, so that's what we're doing.
We're doing this now.
Yep. This is our life.
Yeah. Jeff, what'd you play?
I played a lot. I played Blood Bowl, which I may talk about later.
Yeah, we'll have a bloody minute.
Yeah. Played the Eldritch Horror. Yes, that is the name.
The Eldritch Horror? Yeah, that's the name.
In my head, I was like, Elder Sign. No, wrong.
That's a different
wrong.
one, but yes.
Played Fury of Dracula. Fury of Dracula, still a great game. Played a lot of Star Realms and Hero Realms with Paul and yourself, which I crushed most of you, except the one game. And then probably the biggest game I played was Tiny Epic Quest.
I like that.
Yeah.
It took up a lot of space.
It did. Like the last couple ones.
Yeah.
It's not Tiny Epic, doesn't take up much space quest. It's just Tiny Epic Quest, which takes up almost epic amount of table space.
Correct.
Yes.
Not disagreeing.
Yep. So the three of us played it, and another person that
I don't remember his name. Jason? Something like that?
Oh, yeah. I honestly remembered just us three playing.
I hope he listens to the podcast.
To be fair, Zach's been sick.
Yeah.
sorry, I forgot you existed.
He almost
for a
didn't even
minute.
come to game night on Wednesday.
Yep.
Tiny Epic Quest is super cool.
Yes.
I like the art design a lot. I like the little meeples a lot.
Because these have plastic meeples, but they have little holes in them, so you can put like swords and staffs in there, and it looks really cool because you can actually watch your character get upgraded.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Totally not just Tiny Epic Zelda.
No, totally not,
at all.
that at all.
Totally different. That Triforce is totally the other way around.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Jeff, I feel like you're trying to say the opposite of what you're saying.
It is very Zelda. The art is super Zelda. They're all like Hylian Zelda human people, elf people,
Yeah.
or whatever they are. The monsters, the goblins look just right out of it.
I just want to. This is the first thing that I've actually like, and I own a bunch of cool mini stuff. This is the first thing I owned where I was like, or that I was going to own, and I was like, I actually want to paint that.
Ah, yeah.
all the little gear.
Yeah,
like
all the little gear
equipment?
things. Yeah,
Have fun with that.
yeah.
They're tiny.
Oh, I know.
get-
I want like I expressed a desire to. Am I? Probably not, because they would just look like horseshit.
They get touched a lot.
Yeah.
You need a matte coat spray.
Yes.
Yep. Gameplay wise, I liked it a lot. Like there's different movement options that you have. There's 5 different ones, but with a 4-player game, you only use 4 of them a turn. It's basically moving vertically, horizontally, diagonally around the edges, or just move one space. I like that a lot, but you can get totally screwed by the random board placement, and you just kind of have to work best around that. But there are certain cards that will give you some bonus movement in between turns if you like march dudes there. The only complicated part about it was the angry goblins. Like if you don't like cross their card, it doesn't make you pay a penalty. But if you go onto their card, it also doesn't.
I feel like we definitely were playing that wrong.
It says like if they aren't the start or the destination and you cross through it, you have to pay energy.
If you stop there,
If you stop on there or leave from there, you don't have to do anything.
gotcha.
Yeah, it seems a bit wonky.
That's the only fiddly part about the game. But otherwise, our first playthrough, I was super positive on. I like the temple thing. It's got the temples are similar to Tiny Epic Galaxies, like economic and diplomatic planet track.
for colonization.
Yeah. But everything else is super unique, like the quest system where you get more gear and stuff like that. So it can be a little bit of a race to get there. It's also, you can get totally screwed by people being able to rest at the end of temples before you can and be able to play off other people's dice.
Yeah, because in the night phase, whenever you roll a die, everybody gets to use the dice that you roll, basically, and it's whether you want to stay in, because you can only rest, which is basically saying I'm done on your turn. So,
And it's push your luck, because because you share the dice roll. Like if I get 3 like plus power symbols, I get 1, the next person gets 1, and the next person after that gets 1.
And same thing for like damage and stuff too. So you could take damage in theory on everybody's turn, depending on how they roll.
yeah. But then there's also a magic, magic becomes more potent as night goes on, and as that starts going, at some point, like you don't get energy anymore, damage hurts more, and then you can start taking damage from even the magic mushroom thing getting rolled too. And so you're like, oh, I need this to go up here. I need to do these other things, but it's going to start hurting more and more by that.
So is it semi-co-op? It kind of seems like it might be.
No.
It's not cooperative. I mean, you're all competing, but it's just the dice. Like, I roll the die, and then everybody gets to use part of them, and then Adrian will roll the die, and then everybody gets to use part of them, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's no real direct interaction between players of like, well, you can't move this turn because I played this card or something. It's more of a race.
And since there can only be one person on each location on the board, there's like a blocking, almost worker placement style action thing to it where it's like, oh, well, I got to this area first and now you can't go there. Or like only the first 2 people to this temple can go in that temple and everybody else just has to go fuck themselves.
Temples can only have 2 people. Goblins can only have 1 person there, but a lot of the other spaces are just one of each color can go on there.
So sometime like near the end of the game, it was like, we need to murder goblins, and like they all got filled up and Adrian got screwed and couldn't fight a goblin that turn.
Correct. That is the thing that happened.
Yep.
He was real happy about it.
Yeah. I wasn't like, I don't have anything really negative to say about the game. Like I liked, like you said, Jeff, I liked the way you selected movement. I liked the way you shared dice rolls. So like it mitigated bad rolls and shared the effects of good rolls. So like nobody benefited or was harmed too much by dice rolls. I just ultimately felt it was kind of boring. Like there's there's nothing in the game where it's like, oh, I didn't like this or I thought this was bullshit. It just ultimately like
it didn't engage you.
I never got caught up and I never felt like there was interesting decisions or things going on where I was like, oh man, I could do this or this. It was always like, well, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this and
then we're going to roll a bunch of dice until we bow out.
Correct. Which just didn't super catch me.
Now, what if it was an island in Indonesia
where you're dealing with trains?
Sign me up.
Tiny Epic Indonesia. I wonder if they like went heavy. I guess these are their kind of like heavy game. Like Tiny Epic Kingdoms is like their heaviest, I think, and they're all still pretty.
I would say I think Western is the heaviest of them in terms of complexity.
Yeah.
And even then, I call it medium.
Kingdoms
it's not. Yeah, it's. I think it's like 2.3 or something like that. So
I wonder what would happen if they went real heavy on one of them.
That would be Tiny Epic Splotter. That's Adrian's right there.
Fuck yes. Give me a Splotter you can play in an hour and a half, please. That doesn't involve everybody just going bankrupt in food chain.
I mean, technically, any Splotter you can play in an hour and a half because then after an hour and a half, you're like, all right, done. Just stop. You just play for an hour and a half, and then you're
you're done. And then you count up the score. That's it.
That will finish in an hour and a half.
See, there you go. You have to qualify it.
Yes, I do.
Tiny Epic Quest review coming. I don't know, soon.
Sometime.
Yeah, soonish, soon-esque.
Probably in the next cycle.
Probably in the next 3 months.
Sometime in that time frame.
Yes.
Probably by the end of the year. There you go.
There we go.
All right, Zach. What about you? Do you play anything interesting?
No. Like the main thing I played. Like, because most of the time it's, playing games that you guys are also playing. So,
Correct.
But yeah, the main one that we learned was Fury.
Yes.
You learned.
I learned it.
Yeah.
And how long was the game that we played?
About 4 hours.
4.5.
Yeah. Well, it was 4.5, but I think that's partially because as Adrian pointed out while we were playing, is that we were out at a bar and sometimes our attention got a little scattered.
But,
Not like somebody'd be up waiting to get a drink or like having to go to the bathroom. We were at the draft house, so you had to like leave the bar to go to the bathroom. Like one of the times I went, like I timed it incredibly poorly and a movie just gotten out. And it was like, oh, fuck me, I got to stand in line behind all these moviegoers.
That'd be a Alamo Draft House for people not familiar with.
So the game itself, I don't think took that long. It was just there was a lot of interruptions.
Which is going to happen when you go in public places like that. But yeah, that was the first time I ever played it, and I definitely liked. I think that might be the first time I've played a hidden movement style one.
Like one versus many hidden movement.
Yeah, it might be in the pandemic one in the expansion on the brink. It adds a
bioterrorist.
Yes, yeah, that one I think I've done once. But otherwise, this is the first like real one, and I definitely thought there were a lot of interesting aspects to it. One at the start of the game, who was that? Lord Queendomino. Yeah. I like that his powers are just wealth and privilege. Yes. That's just what it says, and I'm like, and so I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to start off with my wealth, and now I'm going to do some privilege. But I had one goal, and that was to punch Dracula square in the face.
Talk nothing but punching Dracula.
As in, I would go to the piers and just scream out, Dracula!
Just like waving old-timey boxing fists in front of you.
And then Adrian was our Dracula.
Yes.
And
Got a real rough start.
yeah, a lucky card from David basically meant that Adrian had to tell us which location he was, which region he was in.
Which basically, it happened like right away. So like I had to tell them what region I started in before I had a chance to play any cards.
It's like Star Wars Rebellion. Like, what planet is the rebel base? Just point to it because you have to.
Which sector, like within 3 planets, what planet are you on?
And almost everybody else was like on the western side of Europe. I was the only one on the eastern side. And then Adrian's like, oh, I was actually in the region where Zach is. And I was like, oh, it's fucking on.
Yeah.
My fist is a seeker of truth and justice. And then
it also says pimp over it.
Yeah, it said and then so I immediately came looking for you, and then I found you, and I punched you straight in the face.
Yep.
And then the next round, you shot him.
I definitely should have trusted Zach when he said he was going to punch me and played the card that specifically blocks punch.
And it was great is because there's some of the event cards that you draw are like, only this person can play it. So like that's what happened with David. I got one that was straight for my guy that basically meant that Dracula can't leave, or rather, it makes it a lot harder for him to leave. I was like, I want to say it's like Ruby's Revenge or something like that. Lucy's Revenge.
Because Dracula killed Lucy, who I guess was your fiance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the fist was for you. And so I played that down, and then it just kept punching you and shooting you and then punching you again. And then you broke my gun, and then I punched you one more time. And then you ran away with half health already.
Yes.
But then that was, I think, the last time we actually fought Dracula.
Yes.
No.
Oh.
No, then they caught me again when I came back to that same
that's
area.
right.
Like I tried to double around and like sneak behind them. And
Jeff, the Adrian Whisperer.
Jeff the Adrian Whisperer caught
Pulled
me.
into the Adriatic Sea, which is east of Italy. And then I consecrated ground and holy hosted the only 2 places Zach wasn't standing that you could go to, and then drove you right back into Zach.
Yeah.
And so Zach got to punch me one more time.
Yep.
And then we never saw you again.
No.
The
He fought some of my vampires after that, but never saw me again.
Yeah, the Dracula jumping into the ocean, being able to wipe cards, and then sitting somewhere, and then being able to just jump back into the ocean. You take some damage, but then it's like, oh, now I can heal, back into the ocean. That's kind of what happened for the rest of the game, which was sort of a bummer.
It was the advanced cards, right?
Yeah, the advanced rule cards.
Yeah. Like they were pretty hot on my tail for most of the game. Like I definitely thought early on, I thought I was really screwed. Especially like after Zach caught me and just pummeled me for 6 rounds of combat.
Yeah, it did not end because you left. It ended because combat can only go 6 rounds.
Yeah, once Dracula plays 6 cards, combat ends. And so combat ended because of that, not because I got a runaway card. And then I jumped in the ocean and I took off again, and you guys like read that one perfectly and chased me over to Spain, where I was able to hang out for a couple turns while you got there. And that let me kind of heal up and get some of my cards back. And then I jumped in the ocean again and bluffed, and you guys all bit and went north. So they're like, oh, there's no way he's going to go sit on that tiny island in
what it was
the Mediterranean.
was that there's no way he's going to go with this cheese strat, and then he went with the cheese strat.
100%. So it wasn't.
And then we sort of just called it.
Yeah.
Like the last week.
We hit the third, like end of the third week. So I had the full despair. So I was going to start getting 3 points per turn.
Yep.
And the game ends at 13, and I was already at 4, so it ended in 4 turns.
Yeah.
And like nobody could have gotten to me. So.
Yeah, I mean, one of the negatives for you, I guess, of the going into the ocean is you only matured 2 cards the entire game.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, because you can't put an event card in the ocean, so a lot of the time while you're in the ocean, you're not really progressing anything. But with you can stall and then win after a couple turns, it ends up being a little frustrating.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't very satisfying in the end. Like at first, like it was like when I first faked you guys out and everybody went north, I was like, oh fuck yeah, I faked them out. And then it was just like, all right, well now I'm just gonna sit here, and they're doing their thing up there, and clearly nobody's really enjoying it at this point, which was disappointing.
Yeah.
Depends. I mean, you could play Dracula where you make it a good time versus like just winning as Dracula.
Yeah.
And we saw what Adrian wanted to do. So
Well, that was only at the end after I'd been getting the shit kicked out of me.
Well, and to be fair, so I own the game and I've played That was my 5th time playing, and I've played Dracula. And the very first time I played Dracula, I did very similar to what Adrian did, which was that I spent a lot of time. There was not a combat at all in my game. I was Dracula. They never found me. For whatever reason, they never found any of my vampires either. So I just matured, and we were playing with the advanced rules. And by the end of it, I was like, I decided that I'm going to be Dracula again. I need to be, more pro people having fun more than me winning necessarily, because it can be real boring for people. Once you reach that 3rd week and you haven't seen Dracula, it's real depressing.
Yeah. You feel the despair.
Yes, exactly. The despair has built up over 3 weeks.
And we got super lucky with our cards too.
Yes.
We got all the character specific ones, and
the only one that didn't show up to the person who was supposed to have it, Jeff, who was Van Helsing, who can write letters to people, drew that one and then immediately gave it to Caitlin, who was she was Seward.
The doctor.
Yeah, the doctor who's holding a crucifix, I guess. But
So that was Fury of Dracula.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I liked it, but I think that part of it was just the amount of thematic things that were coming up through the game from us. I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah.
Just the long nights of me standing on piers just screaming for Dracula.
Yes.
And then everyone just leaves me alone because I bought that doc, so they can't do shit about it.
Finding a bunch of bats wrapped up in a cloak. Just punching it.
Every animal form had a full-size Dracula cape on it, so the bats were dragging along full-size Dracula capes. Wolves wearing Dracula capes.
Yep.
Mist? I don't know. Dracula capes.
Zach discarded the dogs because he knew I could take wolf form and he wanted no canines around just in case.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as Zach was taking the train, just shooting wolves. May as well.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Seems like a very wealthy European thing to do.
Yeah.
Shoot wolves from trains.
At least in the, 14th century. When's that game take place?
Later than that. It's got to be 1800s.
Yeah. I believe it's Victorian England.
Late 1800s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fury.
Yes.
It's a good game.
Upcoming review after we get another play or two in.
Or more.
Or
more. It's good.
We have some ideas for house rules to make Dracula not as powerful with the special cards.
Yeah, even if he wants to go hide
some of
on
those
an
cards
island,
were really
it'd be
nice.
bullshit.
Yeah, some of them were.
They're all really nice.
Well, I mean, in terms of even being the person, I like the idea of the hide card because you can bluff that you moved when you didn't.
Yeah.
But the healing one and then cheat, that sort of stuff. It was just negated the oceans really. So
Yeah, so that's that. Bloody minute time.
Jeff, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah. So I played Craig, who was playing Chaos Pact. Chaos Pact is one of the 2 newest teams they added. Not since the new edition, but late living rulebook wise. Their thing is they're just a whole host of different evil races, but they can have 3 big guys: a troll, an ogre, and a minotaur. And then they can have a dark elf, a skaven, and then they can have human linemen or orc linemen, or at least one orc lineman, something like that. They're all over the place with what they can have. I was playing orcs. He was playing Chaos Pact. My first half went amazing. I kicked the ball. I was on defense, and I scored on defense as orcs, which is super rare. I was rolling fine. He was rolling very poorly. He had tons of advantage with his skill rolls and was still rolling 1s and all of that fun stuff. I got a KO on his ogre, and then he used most of his rerolls by the 3rd turn, so he had no rerolls for the rest of the half. I ended up scoring. I think there was, 2 turns left in the half, and then the half ended 1-0 to war bosses with me on defense, which is incredible. I was like, I got the second half in the bag. No problem. I got full strength. Everyone's on the field. No fucking problem. Little did I know that he would get a blitz and then casualty my tackle blitzer, who I then apothecaried from miss next game into my reserves. And I was like, okay, I got 10 on the field. Not a problem. He kicked to me because it was the start of the second half. I was able to, what's the term for when he kicks the ball and it goes off the field and I could give it to a touchback.
Yeah.
I got a touchback, so I didn't even have to pick up the ball. Got the ball, moved up, hit a couple dudes, didn't do great, and then he turned around and casualtied out 4 more players on my team and 2 knockouts within the first 3 of his turns.
Jesus.
I had 5 people left on the field and my turn 4, which is incredibly bad for orcs because they have such high armor. And he was just rolling super hot. Just 10, and then another 10 or 11, 10, another 10 or 11, casualty. Lost one of my blitzers to a minus strength. That means he is retired. That was my plus move. Orc did as best as I could for that beginning of that half. Still did okay. I got 0 armor breaks, no stuns, no knockouts, no nothing for the rest of the second half at all, which is brutal because his armor is a lot lighter than mine. He ended up scoring, then it was 1-1. Then it came into the last couple turns of the second half. I ran one of my blitzers up the back of the field. I had 2 opportunities to score 2-1. I had one of my blitzers pick up the ball and try and pass. I needed a lot of die rolls to dodge and pick up the ball. I needed a 2+ go for it to move 1 extra space. Failed that. Had to re-roll. Then he rolled a 1 on the throw, so basically 2 1s in a row, which he fumbled. I needed then on my next turn, because he turnovered, had to blitz a guy away from the ball, dodge out with another blitzer to pick up the ball and pass it again. He needed to go for it for the quick pass again. This time my guy was in coverage, so I had to go for it one more time. Failed that go for it, had to re-roll. Used my re-roll for the turn. Successful pass. He had a chance to intercept. He failed to intercept. My orc caught the ball in a tackle zone, and on a 3, 4, 5, or 6, he had to dodge away, and I would win the game. Failed the 3+ dodge. Fell down, and then he was able to pick up the ball and toss it to the other side and score 2-1. My loss. That was a brutal 3+, and I would have had it.
That's unfortunate.
So I'm out on the first round of the playoffs.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Oh, that was the playoff game?
Yep, quarterfinals.
That sucks.
Yep, I was a 3+ away from winning the quarterfinals.
I'm currently in contention for the Jeffy.
Ooh, fancy.
You get a free loaner reroll next season.
Ooh, that'll be nice.
I will not have the Jeffy. I am the first loser
Yep.
of the playoffs.
When do you play another match, David?
I don't think we're actually. Ant was talking about doing like a losers non-playoff bracket, but I don't think that's happening.
We can play the other people in the league for 2 matches, depending on if you were in a playoff maybe 3 matches. I get 2 because I was in the playoffs. No MVP, half winnings.
Okay.
But I think everything else is the same. But I mean, casualties and stuff all count.
Well, I know Ant had been talking about having a non-playoff bracket for who would get the Jeffy.
Gotcha.
Basically, like if you win, you're out of the bracket. If you lose, you stay in the bracket.
Yeah, something like that. But I'm currently my one in-season not loss was a tie, so pretty good. Feel like I'm going to win that one.
Got that one locked in.
Yeah.
At least I don't move to the Darklands. I'll stay in the vault.
Yeah. Well,
First loser of the vault, but
yeah. Well, I will be in the Darklands.
okay.
I also played Blood Bowl. Mine wasn't for any glory or tournaments or anything. It was just a one-off game. I picked Lizardmen, and Ant was like, who do you want me to be? Like, who would you like to see play? And I very jokingly was like, Halflings. He goes, fuck that. I go, I don't know. I was like, no elfy bullshit, no...
Elfie bullshit's fun.
I almost elfy bullshitted with orcs, which is insane.
Yeah, I was like, no elfy bullshit, no something else, no something else. And he's like, yeah, just... I'll do halflings. Why not?
I don't want you to be elfy bullshit, and I also don't want you to be bashy, and then I don't want you to be balanced. So good luck choosing a team.
Correct. That was essentially what I said. Pretty much my exact words.
Play humans against me.
Yes. So he ended up playing halflings.
The worst team in the game.
Yeah, which makes my 3-2 loss that much more humiliating.
Lizard men versus halflings.
I had 0 I did no casualties to him, and he casualtied 3 of my guys.
Insane against halflings. You just flick them, and they're just fucking their heads fly off.
I broke their armor a lot, but every time I broke armor, I'd roll like a 3 or a 4, and it's like stunned.
Oh, I know that feeling.
One guy that I hurt pretty good, but he came back in the second half. It didn't even matter. The only guy he lost for the entire game, he lost because he rolled double 6s on a foul, and that knocked my guy out. Like, so he he critically injured my guy and got banned. And that was the only person he lost all game.
Adrian's bad at Blood Bowl, clearly.
Yeah. So it started off.
We all know Dice hate him. So
Yeah.
And they do, and that's the moral of this entire game. It started off pretty well for me. Like I kind of was able to pincher move around his two big fucking ents and was closing in on his ball carrier. He had a little cage set up kind of back at the back there. Like I got a great kick, so he had to go way back to get it. And I was pretty much in there. I had like every one of his people, including the ball carrier, engaged. And then he pulled some hobbit-y bullshit.
Stunty bullshit.
Some stunty bullshit and dodged a whole bunch, ran down to one of his ents who threw him to the end zone.
Not that kind of stunt.
Oh, okay.
So he scored pretty quick there. And then he kicked the ball to me, and I went down the field and was able to score. And that was pretty good. He knocked a couple. Once he realized I was going to score, that's when he started fouling my guy and stuff. So he knocked a couple of my guys out. We started the second half, and at that point I was starting to get a little like, all right, I'm starting to see the dice be real bullshitty. I feel like I have good things happening, and then all of a sudden the dice just robbed me of all happiness.
That's like life.
Yes.
So we started the second half. It's 1-1, and I'm like feeling pretty good about it. He's kicking off to me. He kicks off, and I go I did everything right. Like I did all the non-rolling moves first. Got all position. Went over to pick up the ball and dropped it. Started the next turn, and I couldn't do anything without rolling. And I was like, well, I really need to pick up the ball. So I went to pick up the ball, and I dropped it. And then I went to pick up the ball a third time, and I dropped it. And then on the next turn, he grabbed the ball and went 2 turns and a touchdown. I couldn't get anybody down there in time, and he scored a touchdown.
Couldn't put anyone around the ball.
No. Well, so I made a calculated risk. This is one of the times where we were talking about odds of things. I could have blitzed one guy and had just one of my little small lizard men on his small halfling, 1-1. And I could have blitzed him and hit him, but it would have been a one die push roll, and then on his turn he would have had 1 3+ dodge away. Instead, I tried to move another guy down that had to make 1 3+ dodge past one of his other hobbits, and he fell on his face. So he ended up with nobody around him and just scored. I managed to score again. By this point I was pretty checked out, so I don't really remember how I scored again. And then I kicked the ball to him, and his tree ant guy smashed somebody in the face and then threw one of his hobbits to the end zone again.
He used a throw teammate,
Yes.
which a hobbit ran up to him. The treeman picked him up and threw the hobbit carrying the ball towards the other end of the field.
Correct.
Which usually kills the hobbit because they have to take an armor roll or a dodge roll and an armor check.
Yeah.
And they have such low armor that they can not make the landing and just splat.
He threw 4 hobbits. Not a single one of them even got knocked out.
Wow.
It was
Did he throw
ridiculous.
any hobbits at you?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the times
All
I was
right.
the ball carrier. He threw it at me. It missed my ball carrier, but landed on one of my defensive men's heads and knocked him out.
good.
Yes. That's why hobbits are fun. Halflings are fun just because you can throw them at people, and that's cool.
It was super frustrating. After all I'd heard about how this was the worst team in Blood Bowl and how much it sucked and how much he didn't want to play it, to get trounced like that.
Well, you
was-
were playing against the number 4 ranked Norse player in North America.
Oh, that was the thing I told him. I said no LV bullshit, no Norse, and something else that I didn't want. I don't remember what it was. I could look up the text, but so that was my game of Blood Bowl.
Okay.
I will commit to playing at least one more game, maybe 2.
Well, maybe you should not play against Ant because he
correct.
plays a ton. So if you
You got your learning game in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now you and Zach can play each other.
So the
That's
one,
the next one after
at
that.
least
Okay.
one that I will commit to, the at least one would be Zach for the newbie telecast match that Ant wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
I might do one more prep game with you, Jeff, or something like
Okay.
that. Not Paul. I would. My head would explode losing to Paul in
You
Blood
would
Bowl. It'd be the most. It's unbearable losing to Paul in most things. Blood Bowl would just be the worst. So not Paul.
It's not like he has a super smug face or anything like that.
That is his Twitter icon.
The smuggest. I think that's a great place to wrap up Banter.
What do we do after Banter?
News and Kickstarters. is what we do next.
Okay. So we're going to do news and Kickstarters now. We're going to start with news because that's what I wrote first. First up in news, the Spiel DR Game of the Year Kingdomino is getting a expansion called
Expandalone.
called Queendomino, which can be standalone or combined with Kingdomino to make it a bigger game and up to 6 players.
Yep. You can either make it, because right now it's 5x5, and this can either make it a 7x7 for 4 players, or you can do
6 with 5x5.
Yep.
I like that game.
Yeah,
a
you
lot.
guys have both played it. I have still
Yeah.
not played it.
Kyle from Sounding Board had brought it to Debo like 2 months ago. Maybe he'll bring it this Wednesday.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
We could message him, tell him to do that.
We know people that can bring games.
We're super important. We know people.
Yes. Super unimportant people is who we know.
Yep.
But yeah, I want to get Kingdomino, and now I just really want Queendomino as well, because I really like that game a lot. Next up in news, kind of bummer news. All European Union Kickstarter copies of Lisboa have burned in a fire.
Yeah.
Unironically.
Yeah.
Do you know the game Lisboa at all?
I know Adrian likes it, so I probably don't want to
It's a game about rebuilding after a fire.
Oh, excellent.
You rebuild the city of Lisboa, which was destroyed by a fire, earthquake, and tsunami.
Yep.
In quick succession.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Did the warehouse get hit by a giant wave then?
No, so they even said about all I can say. So like their official like statement they put out is like, we've been waiting way too long to hear about the shipment to the EU, but now the really bad news. There's been a fire at the factory which has destroyed all of the Lisboa games awaiting shipment to the EU along with a lot of other damage. About all I can say is that at least there have been no earthquakes and no tsunamis. We're still working on the numbers, but our plan is to send a shipment to the EU from the US. And then they're going to work on trying to get those like basically fixed. Yeah, that super sucks. The game's already been delayed a bit. Like people were supposed to have it by now, and nobody does. And then now some people are going to be waiting probably a while. So
Yeah, they just arrived to the U.S. about a week ago.
Okay.
yeah.
That's a bummer. We've been looking forward to that game,
Yes,
but since we live in the U.S.,
yeah, I have a Kickstarter copy coming, and then we have a review copy coming as well.
better be here soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
I wonder if they'll just cancel review copies and just be like, oh,
I have
shit.
a tracking notice,
Yeah.
so I think it's already been shipped. But I don't know. This might affect that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, I would rather them fulfill to their backers than give
I
out review
100%
copies.
agree.
So, but yeah,
Especially since I already have a copy coming.
Yeah.
Like, we can still do a review with my copy later. It just won't be a Gen Con review.
yeah. In other things being lost forever news, the Wasteland Express
It's Wasteland Express.
delivery service.
Yes.
Yes. Has lost all of their copies in shipment. Like the truck showed up and the pallet of games wasn't on it.
And it was they did eventually find it, but it was like they thought it was supposed to be in one spot, and then they're like, oh, we didn't get it, and so they started talking with the roadrunner, like the person they were running it, and they're like, oh, it's actually over here, and then they went there and it wasn't there, and just also something that is because it's a delivery service getting lost. I like on Reddit, someone said, first a game about rebuilding after a fire goes up in flames, and now a game about delivering goods gets lost in transit by the trucking company. Has demand for theme gone too far? And someone just goes, just wait until Dinosaur Island is ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Spare no expense.
Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
Yep, exactly.
I, for one, appreciate their commitment to theme.
Hell, even I can't be mad.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yep.
So hopefully people get their stuff here pretty soon.
Yes.
Next up in news, a expansion is coming for Power Grid called Power Grid Fables, and it's adding a sort of like 3-game campaign that you can play on any of the boards that will have like goals over multiple games added into Power Grid.
So one of his games was the first one was called like Fabled Fruit,
Yes, and it introduced like kind of a campaign system
campaign
called the
sy-
Fable game system.
where it's like it has these cards, and whenever you get that goal, you add that to these cards, and then you add a new one up, and so as the games progress, it changes the gameplay, and so it looks like he's doing the same sort of thing with this, like that.
Correct.
So,
Looks interesting. It's probably going to be a pretty small expansion. Ant owns most of those boards, so I would be interested in getting a Power Grid campaign together, especially since it's only 3 games.
Yeah.
I could probably do that one day. No
Yes.
problem. With people that actually know how to play.
Yes. Yeah, because that game can and should play like in like an hour and a half.
Yeah. Just don't do it at Little Machine Brewing and you're good to go.
Correct.
Yeah.
So as somebody who has not is not familiar with the Fable game system, hearing Power Grid Fables really confused me because I was like, did they throw in some fantasy elements to Power Grid? This makes no sense.
We run our power plants off of ogre blood now.
Yeah. Well, you have to choose between ogre blood or fairy dust.
Yes. Comes with new meeples.
New resources available.
Yeah.
Well, shit, now I want that.
No, thank you.
And last up, and most important in news, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds overtakes Fallout 4 for the highest peak player count of any non-Valve game on Steam.
Yep.
Very important.
Yes.
Very important.
And third game overall.
Yes. The only two above that are Dota 2 at almost 1.3 million peak players, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive CSGO at 850,000. PUBG sitting at a smidge under 500,000 at 481,000 peak players. That is only going to go up because they're over 4 million in sales now.
They didn't even touch on the biggest news, though, that's coming out of this. Like, No Man's Sky is still top 10 on Steam.
Peak player count, to be fair.
Yeah, not current
that
player
peak,
count.
That peak player count.
That was from August 2016. Okay,
Yes.
when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yep.
Terraria is still on there from June 2015.
Terraria's a good fucking game.
It is, but that's just funny to me.
Yep. Dota 2 is probably never going to be beaten peak player count because Dota 2 is amazing.
Yeah, almost 1.3 million. Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, there's your PUBG news.
Yeah, you thought we weren't talking about it. Gotcha.
We did get a chicken dinner.
We did. We also ran a guy over with a car because he was chasing you.
We just dropped. He was right behind me. I saw a motorcycle. I ran for the motorcycle. Guy was just running after me. You run at the same speed. It's not like he could catch me.
Yeah, you can sprint forever in the game, so there's nothing.
Yeah, there's no. So I got on the motorcycle, and Zach had also found a car.
Yeah, it came barreling over towards you.
Yeah, and I was like, well, clearly you need to run over that man. Because at this point, we're in the middle of a field. And I'm on a motorcycle. Zach's got a white Dacia car, 4-door, Russian sedan of some sort. And just runs over that man because there was no trees, no nothing. He had nowhere to hide. Nope. And he just ran him over. Yep. Knocked him down, didn't kill him. And then ran him over again.
I mean, you
drifted over
to make sure.
Yep, got to make sure. And then we got a chicken dinner, I think, right? I got a chicken dinner.
You did, yeah.
There was a house on the north central coast that we've been at before that just the circle was so good every single time to the point where it's just the three of us. And people were like hugging the edge of our building because the circle was around our building, and we just ended up jumping off and just shooting them from midair, and it was pretty awesome. One thing I do want to throw out, my friend that we play with a lot actually streams on Twitch, and we might throw in his Twitch link somewhere in the show notes in case you ever want to hear us yelling at each other playing PUBG over a recorded stream.
Yeah.
He's got them all recorded on there that you can go and watch all of our shenanigans.
Hell, we should set you guys up on Twitch.
I mean, I already have Twitch Prime, but that's because I have Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You get a free gold Overwatch loot box, Zach.
I saw that.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
We also need to know how to stream. My friend already knows that. So.
Right.
Well, I think Twitch streaming is actually really simple.
I'm sure it is.
It is. And then it also has our Mumble voiceover IP in there as well, so you can hear us yelling at each other.
And if you're already listening to the show, then you clearly don't mind all the swearing.
No.
So
you'll find some new people that we swear at.
Yeah.
Some of our friends. Yeah, so we might throw that in there, and so you can.
Bob, why are you shooting me? Stop.
Bob, don't shoot me. Stop. Nah, and I'm dead. Bob. Oh God, Bob. Now we just call it pulling a Bob.
Yep.
That's what friendly fire is now.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think in that game when we ran that guy over, I also accidentally ran you over, too.
I think that happened. Yes. Yeah, you were like, oh, I just can't not run people over now. You were the first one I saw. Your vision went red.
Yep. Yeah. And it's not just from the infection.
He was all high on antibiotics.
Oh, yeah. Because that's what happens.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, well, I think that wraps up news, doesn't it?
Yeah. PUBG, still good. Moving on to Kickstarters, as is tradition. First up on Kickstarters is Feudum, the Queen's Army. This one is well funded at 32,000 of its 15,000 goal, about 900 backers, and a little over 2 weeks to back. This one you can pledge for about $19 for the solo variant expansion, and then $79 for the expansion and the base game.
Yep. So I'm not entirely sure how to feel about this one. Like, I just backed Feudum back in like December, and it still hasn't delivered. And then for them to do a Kickstarter entirely just for a solo variant, I don't know, feels like, hey, I just gave you like nearly $200 for all of Feudum. Like, I don't want to pay another $20, especially considering I haven't got the game yet.
Yeah, especially because you can get everything for $143, like Feudum, all the box expansions, and this new one.
Yeah. The only thing I think there is it's all of the Feudum stuff you're getting at this point is not Kickstarter Feudums. Like they're the retail versions. So some of the Kickstarter extras I got aren't. But I don't know if that's 100% true either.
We will see.
Because I did think that the big box was a Kickstarter only thing as well. But otherwise you'd have to buy all the expansions as separate individual boxes. But I don't know. Like everything else Feudum, I like the art style that goes along with them. The components seem pretty solid.
It's getting a little close to some Uwe art on those, though, but not quite as bad.
There was some game the other day that you guys were talking about, like, oh, how much you like the artwork. And then I found out it's Clemens Franz did the artwork for it, which is the guy who does all of the Uwe stuff that you say you don't like.
Well, someone will clearly have to tell us and correct us, because I don't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember what game it was now.
Then I don't think it happened.
No.
It definitely happened. I'll figure it out and I'll rub it in your face.
Just listen to all of our episodes over again and be like, oh, there it is. Now I've got one over them.
I hate you.
That's all he does.
Well, and then also you can like some art that somebody does and like not like other art. I'm just saying, give me an out for you to still be wrong.
It's very easy for us to make these outs, by the way. So.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, next Kickstarter.
On to the next Kickstarter. This one is Container 10th Anniversary Jumbo Edition. Well funded, 54,000 of its $10,000 goal, a little under 700 backers, and a little around 3 weeks to back. You can pledge this one for about $48 for almost literally nothing, or pay $77 for the actual game.
Yeah. So this is a game that I was super excited about. I really like the Container. You know, this is 10th Anniversary Edition. It's kind of a classic game. It's a heavier Euro game about shipping and stuff. And
you look enthralled, David.
This has some pretty fantastic giant-sized container ship minis. With shipping containers on them, like
7 inches long.
Yeah,
for each container.
That's substantial.
Or each ship, rather.
Yeah, so I was really excited for this, and then the Kickstarter came out, and some of my enthusiasm kind of went away. For one, like that $48 roll call where you just get your name, like as, hey, you help support this, and that's literally it.
Like, if you pre-ordered somewhere else and still want to be in the credits.
Because they did a pre-order thing, pre-Kickstarter pre-order that was like $10 cheaper still. Or, I don't know. See, and I don't know. It might have even been a little bit higher. Because I don't know. But they did a separate pre-order before the Kickstarter to raise funds to better launch the Kickstarter. I don't know. It started to seem kind of weird. And then the other thing that I really don't like is so the old edition of Container came with 100 containers, and they've scaled it back to like 80 or 85 because they said that on BGG there was wide consensus that the game was better by taking some off to shorten it and stuff like that. And I've heard like some things I was reading today that there's not really a consensus on that. There's a lot of people say like, no, like the 100 gives you the full game, like having all 100 containers and having the game go the full distance, not just arbitrarily chopping the back part of the game off.
But this is pretty expensive to be on some credits and a signed thank you card.
Oh yeah, the $48 thing is completely ridiculous.
That's a lot of money for that.
Well, when they send you the thank you card, does it come with 2 20s just tucked in?
Because then that might actually make sense.
Yes. We will give you $40 back. But you can get the game for $77.
Yeah.
But then you can also get the game and a signed card for $120, which is I don't understand. I just don't. Thankfully, only 5 people have done the $48 and don't actually get the game pledge, and only 2 people have done the game and not so great reward pledge. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got great big huge container ships.
The game parts, stuff, containers, the 7-inch long container ships, all look good.
Yeah, and you know, like Container's a pretty well regarded game. Like at least for the heavier side of things, Paul's getting this.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a solid game, and they definitely way upscaled components. That just comes at the cost of things being expensive.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
So pledge Container if you need container.
I mean, I might buy it and give the container ships to my friends' kids.
You know, only $77.
Obviously, I'm springing for the $120 thank you card.
Yeah. Next up on Kickstarter is A Song of Ice and Fire, tabletop miniatures game. This one has over doubled its goal, 786,000 of its $300,000 goal. 5,600 backers and a little less than 2 weeks left. This one has one single pledge of $150. This one comes from Cool Mini or Not, or Simon, because that's what they call themselves now.
They're now Simon.
Well, it's a tabletop miniatures game, so I'm literally all in on tabletop miniatures. But I don't think I'll actually be backing this one.
So you're not all in at all.
I'm all in on the idea because the world needs more tabletop miniatures games. Looking at you, Rune Wars. But this one's not thrilling to me for $150. It's got movement trays. It's got like ranked units. It's got pivoting and charges, which is everything I love about Warhammer Fantasy. But I think Rune Wars does it better right now as a game, as a starter set, you do get a lot of miniatures for this thing, but I'm not super enthralled with it for $150.
Fair enough. I mean, you do get a ton of minis.
I like that the Kickstarter exclusive one is basically George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it could be pretty good, but I'm not like, oh man, I can't live without this.
I desperately wish I had $150 so I could back this. I've never really played a tabletop miniatures game other than that one time we played. Was that Zach?
HeroScape.
Yeah, and that was pretty fun. And this looks really cool. I love Song of Ice and Fire. I like the artwork because it's not the licensed movie show based artwork. Like this is just hand done artwork.
And if anyone was unaware, A Song of Ice and Fire is Game of Thrones.
Yes.
But this is definitely more like book license, book art, more creative freedom with what they can do with it.
Yes. I don't know. I wish I had the money for it. I unfortunately definitely do not.
You definitely wouldn't have the money then to add in all of the optional buys, too.
Yeah.
I should have known they had a bunch of optional buys.
30 for Stark Sworn Swords, 30 for Stark Outriders, 30 for Umber Berserkers, 30 for Lannister Guards, 30 for Lannister Halberdiers, 30 for Mountains Men, 30 for Bolton's Bastards Girl, 17 for Fortification Terrain Set, 17 for Woodland Terrain Set, 17 for Northern Ruins Terrain Set, 35 for a map, and then $10 for House Stark and House Lannister dice.
That's where these get really well out of anything I would imagine spending money on, just because like that $30 Stark's Outriders box, it's 4 miniatures for $30. I mean, as someone that has bought a lot of Games Workshop stuff in the past, miniature prices have certainly gone extremely up for that, but
I mean, they are bigger ones, but yes, I definitely agree with that.
I mean, it's no Space Marine Terminators in a unit of 5 for $70, but
all the terrain stuff is Kickstarter exclusives, so that sucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
The miniature's good though.
Yeah.
Like, they're well sculpted.
Minis are all great.
But it's
So I'm if I get this game, I will purposely not paint them and play in front of Ant constantly.
Yes, that is the only answer.
It's like an extra $210 for just the like extra miniatures themselves. It's a lot.
It is.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, like, I don't know if I want to spend that much on a tabletop miniatures game if I don't know if the core rules and system is going to be, like, airtight, because if I'm going to spend that much money on a game, like I'm going to want to have to play this game a lot. And I think anymore, like you've got to go all in on like one tabletop miniatures game, and if it's not the most popular one, it's just kind of you and a small group of friends.
Well, I feel like this one will be, at least for a year or two, it'll be popular because Game of Thrones, the show, is still on, and then when the new book finally releases, it'll probably see an uptick. So you'll get a couple years of...
That book's never coming out.
Well...
Shut up. Shut up.
In my dream world where the book comes out.
Yes.
In the Dreamlands.
Yes.
In the Dreamlands.
And I know that this one, all the other releases past the starter set will just come straight to retail.
Yeah.
So,
Which is what Rune Wars has done.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just more interested in fantasy setting than just sort of like low fantasy medieval.
I can see that.
I feel like this, this game's clearly banking off people being interested in the license.
Well, it's going to happen because it's well funded.
Yes.
We'll see what it gets in another 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
it's going well.
Indeed.
Last up on Kickstarter is something coming and starting tomorrow.
Yesterday.
Starting yesterday as of this recording.
No, yesterday as of when you're listening.
Yeah.
Tomorrow as of this recording.
Indeed.
Get it together, Jeff.
Wait, when does it start? I'm confused.
August 2nd.
Yes, Tuesday. It starts Tuesday, August 1st, doesn't it? Or does it start on Wednesday? So it's
No,
the
it's
day
first.
they
It
release?
is the first. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Tuesday is the first. My bad.
Starts on Colorado Day.
It's Colorado Day?
You guys, how have you lived in Colorado and not know that August 1st is Colorado Day?
No idea what Colorado Day is.
I thought March 3rd was Colorado. No, March 3rd is like Denver 303 Day.
Yes. Anyway.
Because that's our zip code here. Or area
No, I
code.
know.
It's definitely not
know.
this-
Area code. Shut up. No, I did not. I'm from Colorado, and I didn't know that the
80211, but it's not 2011 anymore, so
No. Yeah.
yeah, August 2nd.
So yeah, August 1st is when the
Anyway, the Kickstarter we're talking about that's going to be releasing on Tuesday, August 1st, is Before the Earth Explodes. And we are going to talk about this a little bit because we actually got kind of a Kickstarter preview copy. Thanks to the fellows over at Punchboard Media, who we're proud to be a part of. They have some good contacts over at Green Couch Games, who's putting this out there. So they sent us a copy. Zach, you and I played this yesterday, Sunday.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So it's a pretty simple little two-player card game.
Yeah, it's 2 players. It says it takes about 20 minutes. I feel like it took
I feel like it didn't even take that long.
10, 15 minutes, if that.
Yeah. Basically,
As I was sitting waiting for a Blood Bowl match to start, you finished this game.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, it's a 2-player one where you are trying to escape before the Earth explodes.
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah. And so there's there's like 4 different ways that you can win. There's a technology track that if you get that up to 7, you win. If you do 7 damage to your opponent, you win. If you colonize 7 planets, you win. And then there are ships,
and some of them have printed on them
victory
other
conditions and stuff like that.
So there's 3 main ways, and then there's a potential other ways that can come out in the game sometimes. There's 16 of the planet cards, 16 of the ship cards. You basically flip 3 of them, 3 of each. And then you have a hand of like 4 action cards, A, B, C, and D. And you each select a card face down and then reveal them. And the kind of interesting thing is like the A card like cancels B and C.
No, so it's sort of a rock, paper, scissors thing that A cancels B cancels C and D.
That's right.
And D cancels A. And so if I played a D, but then Adrian played an A, I do a damage to him, and then I cancel his card so he can't do shit. And so each of the different cards do something. So A is Scout. It allows you to take a ship, and then also you can move up 1 space on the technology track. Invade, which is B, is you get to cancel a C or D card if it's played, and then you get to copy whatever that ability that you stopped was. C allows you to pay 2 less resources for colonizing a planet, and then D does 1 damage to the opponent if they played A, and then it allows you to gain resources that have accumulated, because resources are how you actually buy planets. And so there's, it's definitely, every time you're playing, I know it happened at least a couple times. I was like, all right, well, what's the best thing for Adrian right now? All right, he's going to do this. So he's going to expect me to do this. And so I have to go 1 further than that. And I know there was at least one time where you were gonna win and I was like, okay, the safest card for him to play is gonna be this one. It was the B, so I'm gonna play the A, and then you played the B and I played the A, and I canceled you, and I was like, yes, stopped him. It felt great.
Well, it was one of those like you stopped me from doing my card, but then I still like after you play the card, you could just do a buy phase, and I was still
No, you can't. No, it's that if your card gets canceled, you can't buy. It was you had to wait till the next turn.
That's right.
But it was definitely a clutch one, and it felt super great when I was just like,
I mean, I still won.
Yes. That's because you canceled like 3 of my cards in the beginning, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, I did real good at reading what I thought Zach was going to do early in the game, and that's the entire game right there. Is like looking at what your opponent has, looking at what's available, and being like, what's he going to go for? Like, what's best for him? And then, like you said, like, but maybe he's smart enough to know that if he plays what's best for him, I'm going to trump that. So he's going to play the trump to my trump.
Yep.
So then I got to trump that. and
then you just get into an infinite loop in your mind, and you just shut down forever.
Inconceivable.
Yes.
I really liked it, especially because it played, like I said, like I don't think it even took us 20 minutes.
No, yeah.
Maybe if you include like learning the rules, like learning how to play, but even then, you know, once you started playing, like everything makes sense. The iconography is really easy to understand once you know what the couple symbols mean. And
I don't know. So the ones that we had, I don't know if all the planets are going to look the same or if they're like each planet is going to have different art. But I think the cards themselves, the graphics on them and stuff, they look good. Like you said, the iconography. I was like, hieroglyphics. No.
No, that's wrong.
That's the wrong thing. Different types of picture words.
yes,
the iconography does get, once you understand what they mean, it's easy to read them.
yeah.
And then it's also, because it's a 2-player, like there's a card, it's called the tiebreaker card, but it's basically who's first player. And so if you guys both play different cards that don't cancel themselves out, it's, whoever's the tiebreaker one, they get to go first. And so it's like you want to try and plan with that too.
Yeah.
Because there's like, it's like there's a planet I really want, but I'm going second, so I should play C because that'll let me get the planet first. But then I have to be like, is he going to expect me to do that and shit like that? So
Yeah. It's a fun little puzzle for a game that takes 10 or 15 minutes.
yeah.
The Kickstarter, like we said, it launches on Tuesday the 1st. So it'll be out by the time you guys are listening to this. It's going to be $17. $19. It's going to be $19 for the game. And then you can jump up to
$34 if you want a play mat.
Yeah. And so we'll have to see when the campaign actually launches what that playmat looks like, what kind of art they have.
Yeah, but for $19, it's a pretty good deal, I think.
Yeah, I think it's probably about worth it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on it, and then I don't know what actually is going to be happening inside the campaign, but I think 19 for that game was probably a good for a 2-player game. Yeah, I think so. It's a good deal. Yeah.
So we'll probably touch on this again next week after we have a chance to really look over the campaign, get Jeff to play the game a couple times, and give you a better idea of how it is. So
yeah,
That's it for Kickstarters.
Yep.
That may or may not exist yet.
I mean, the Earth could explode. We don't know.
No, because this game is coming out before the Earth explodes.
It's true.
But it could come out and then the Earth explodes, and then
No,
This
that's also
Kickstarter
true.
can never fulfill because then the Earth will explode.
Right on.
That's it for Kickstarters.
That is it for Kickstarters. I don't think we had any new BGG follow-ups from Indonesia last week.
no.
There was a bunch of Twitter discussion that it was far less contentious than people were hoping. Apparently, we were...
I mean, if they want me to pull a knife on you, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's just how we record. Just knives pointed at each other the whole time. We're really calm about it, but they're here.
Yeah. You can't hear it, but it's because our hands are steady.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, David? Just knives everywhere.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at them. Luckily, I brought 2 knives for myself, so I got a backup knife just in case.
Good. In case Dracula destroys one.
Yes.
Aha, bam.
In case Dracula knocks my knife away, I have another one. So.
Yeah. Dual wielding.
Yep.
Right on. Jeff, did you have some old Gloomhaven emails you wanted to touch on?
We do indeed have some old Gloomhaven emails to touch on because they are still coming.
We got a
from
lot of emails.
A couple months ago. Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to email us about anything and everything. We will listen or read, whichever one.
definitely read. We don't listen to emails, Jeff.
All right, let's listen to the email. Just quiet. Everybody quiet.
Quiet. Beep, boop, beep, 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 boop. A lot of ones and zeros in that. This first email comes from Brandon. Dear Adrian, Zach, every sign-off I've done since we started the show. I'm not going to read all of them, but he has listed all of them.
Got a smattering, maybe?
Jeff, and I really want this to be a Blood Bowl podcast. Always Jeff. Continue to be a Jeff. Cronenberg Jeff. When did I use... Salvador Jeff, but I already used that one. When did I use that one?
I remember that. Yeah, that was a funny one.
The Jeff Burglar.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Anyway, the body of the email.
Yes. Hello. ... Open parentheses. I added the ellipses just so you would likely have to say it. Close parentheses. Jeff. Jeff, I want to be friends with you. You seem entertaining as hell. Zach, let's get together and play some Eldritch or some other Ameritrash game together. Adrian, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm busy that day.
Amazing.
Fine, we can play a game too, but not a heavy Euro, and it's only because I'm also 5'6".
Hooray.
There can only be one man 5'6" in a room at any time.
I had every intention of doing this post as something to entertain you guys, and I started collecting the many names of Jeff prior to knowing about the contest, but then you announced this, ellipses, open parentheses, added, so you likely have to say it, close parentheses. Avarice took over, and I thought, well, fuck, I'd rather win Gloomhaven over entertaining them. If I win, amazing, you guys are the absolute best. If I lose, well, I suppose if I entertained you, at least there's that, but that's second place, which, as we all know, is just first loser.
Yep.
Oh, and you guys are somewhat okay if I don't win, I suppose. All jokes aside, I thoroughly enjoyed this podcast. I've listened to every episode and can't wait for more. Adrian, I may not be into heavy Euros, but I still appreciate your point of view, and it's pretty entertaining hearing the shit they give you. But even though they said they want you dead on the outside as well as the in, I value you-ish.
It's that ish that really keeps it in perspective.
Yeah. Thanks for the great content. Congrats on the 1 year, and here's to another year. Sincerely, Brandon. P.S. The guy next to me is kind of a douche, so I wouldn't recommend sending it to him.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Oh shit! That one is one of the best ones we got.
Yes,
I've been looking forward to that one for a while.
Yeah. Next up is from Jeremy. My wife and I got into hobby gaming about 6 years ago and really enjoy them. On a somewhat related note, my wife and I welcomed our 7th child. How is this related, you may ask? Well, let's just say our board game collection isn't large enough yet to keep us busy all the time.
Winking smiley face.
Yes. Anyway, thanks for the giveaway. Looking forward to hearing more of your podcasts. Thanks, Jeremy. That's a lot of kids.
That is a substantial amount of children.
It's like more than half a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a half a dozen shy of a baker's dozen.
Well, I was going to call it a baker's half dozen.
Fun fact, my dad is the second oldest of 13 kids.
Wow.
That is a substantial amount.
Yep.
I think Dan, my dad, he's like right in the middle of 14, but it's 7 from one marriage, him and his like full blood sibling, and then 7 from another marriage.
Were your 13 all from the same marriage?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That
So
is-
after they had your dad, you're like, let's do 11 more. That sounds good.
So he's the oldest boy, but it started girl,
Yep.
11 boys.
Oh my God.
Straight girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just a big old, that's
13.
a huge boy sandwich. Right?
Yeah.
Manwich.
Yes. Manwich.
Yep.
Yeah. He massive.
What's the age difference? Like,
my dad is 82. I'm not sure how young the youngest is. 81. I'm sorry. Not 82.
And you're 32, Jeff?
Yes.
Correct? I'm also 32. My dad is 50.
Yeah. My dad is 81 years old.
Wow.
his
Yep.
dad was 31 years old when your dad was born.
My grandma is 60.
My
Wait, what?
My mom's mom
Okay.
is 60. Not my dad's mom is
My
No longer with us.
Okay, I was gonna say
My,
that tenure. That's
No.
my
No.
yeah.
No, my grandma's going to be 60 this December. My mom's going to be 50, and my younger brother is going to be 30.
that's way younger.
We're
than,
doing a big party with
Yeah.
all of that.
My grandmother on my dad's side, still alive.
Mm-hmm.
She's 101 years old.
Wow.
Yep. Northern Mississippi on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Got a lot of kids.
What else are you gonna do there?
Make them work.
Sounds about right.
It's also where I got the dimple.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Next email from Ryan. Fun fact, Candyland was at the center of one of the first disputes over domain names on the web. As in the early mid-90s, Candyland.com was a porn site. Hasbro successfully sued for control of the domain.
Good job, Hasbro.
Yeah.
I feel like a website named candyland.com didn't have anything anyone wanted to see anyway.
But now we'll never know. It's long gone.
True.
Hasbro won.
It just redirects to Hasbro.com now.
Oh, of course it would. If anyone wants a real court case on their hands, go look up Nissan.com and that nightmare. Someone owned Nissan.com. Nissan's been trying to buy that for years, and all it is just anti-Nissan like propaganda, like the whole way, like anti like
way.
that guy's must have been.
You're not wrong. No, yeah. That's what it looks like right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I like how there's like 5 dudes who are walking around town with anti-Nissan
Yep.
shirts on. Mm-hmm. Website also appears to not have been updated since 1994 when it was created.
Yeah, it's been there for a long time.
So we got no new emails directly from listeners, but thanks to listeners supporting our Patreon, we did get 3 new emails. So thank you to Derek for pledging at the $5 tier. Thank you to Anthony for pledging at the $10 tier. And thank you to Caitlin for pledging at the $25 tier after playing Fury of Dracula with us.
Indeed.
And
While playing, no less.
and yeah, while playing. And, hopefully she doesn't, make us her bitch too much. She seemed to indicate that was the plan.
No, there's no way that's not happening.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it's awesome, guys. Thank you very much.
What game
Yeah.
is she going to make us review? David, what game is she going to make us review?
I have no idea.
It's going to be great, whatever it is. I'm going to love it.
I mean, we already know Richard's going to make us review Monopoly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. But no, thank you very much to all 3 of you for supporting the show. Thank you to everybody else who is already currently supporting the show.
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
We hugely appreciate that. It's going to allow us. So we've already ordered brand new fancy business cards. Mm-hmm. We're about to order some T-shirts that we're going to have for sale at Gen Con. And then post Gen Con, we're going to order some more and get a little web store going, I think. So if you guys want a Mile High Game Guys T-shirt, you can buy them from us.
Yes.
There was also a demand for totes, apparently. So.
Yes, Caitlin wanted totes. She's already taking control.
Yes.
If there's any other merchandise that you guys would be particularly interested in, I want to do. Clearly, we're going to do pint glasses because, as alcoholic as we all are, we can't not have alcohol branded accoutrement.
There are going to be so many different kinds of glass. We're just going to make a whole nice beer glass line. It's all the Mile High Game Guys. We're going to have I don't know, a home shopping network of Mile High Game Guys beer glasses.
Correct. But a lot of that stuff
Starts at 1 liter and goes up from there.
Mm-hmm. And I thought of a perfect one for IPAs. It'll just be mesh, so it'll just
Yeah.
fall
That's
straight
good.
through.
I like that. That's a good
You
plan.
know what? It's just a garbage can.
No, but they could still drink from the garbage can. I don't. I just want it
That's
to
true.
just seat directly on the table.
Garbage can that comes with pre-loaded garbage.
Oh,
so it
yes.
mixes with the garbage juice.
I feel like that'd make it better though. So
God damn it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it would make it better, but I think Adrian would still drink it.
yeah,
As someone that likes IPAs, I just love giving him shit over his love of IPAs.
Well, it's like Paul, who loves heavy games, still gives me shit about everything. Yeah.
And I mean, Paul also likes, dexterity games and dice
I
roll
like
games
dexterity
too.
games, except for Clask. That game can go to hell. Just because I'm really not good at it.
I know.
I don't think it's a bad game at all.
Paul and I played best of 3 and I won, so obviously it's the best game ever.
He was showing his stats. Clask is one of his most played games now.
yep.
He's played 60 games, and 50% of his opponents have a 0% win rate.
Well, Yeah.
I got 40% win rate against him. So
there's a new class game.
yes, what was it called?
Bonk.
We'll talk about that next week.
It's a 2-on-2 multiplayer game. No one owns it yet, so I've only seen it. But
Yeah.
I noticed
Target's
that
going to be carrying it, right?
Target does carry it.
Oh, it does.
That's
currently.
why I saw it.
So we'll talk about that next week. We'll find some more information.
Yeah, bonk.
Anyway, yeah. If you... Wow, we tangent real bad.
Don't act surprised.
I'm not. I'm stating
Listeners,
I'm just
don't act,
stating a fact.
we already did that earlier with PUBG, so don't.
Yeah. But no, thank you to all the supporters. That's allowing us to do some cool and awesome things already, and it can only get better from here. If you would like to support the show, you can jump over to patreon.com/milehighgameguys and check out the different rewards that we have for different pledge levels, and maybe pledge if you would like to support the show. Otherwise, if you want to support the show non-financially, you can do stuff like email us.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can tweet at us at MHGameGuys for me.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
David, do you have a Twitter you want to plug?
I don't tweet.
Okay.
I have a Twitter.
Do you follow us?
I do, and
Okay.
I voted in
does.
that bullshit poll
That's right.
about
Only
the
like-
song.
only
That's
like-
the only time I've ever used Twitter.
Only 5 people voted.
Yeah,
between the old
nobody
and new.
cared about the music, apparently.
And then the new one still
I'm the
won.
only one who cared.
The new one still won, even though Zach and I both voted for the old one.
it was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
It was really more of a spite vote.
It
I
was,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You can jump over and give us a like on Facebook at Mile High Game Guys. Facebook.com/MileHighGameGuys. You can follow us on Instagram, also /Mile High Game Guys. And you can jump over to our Board Game Geek Guild, guild number 2731. You can join the guild, and that way you'll get notified when Zach posts about upcoming reviews and any other stuff that anybody wants to talk about. Also, be sure to check out the show notes for a link to our Slack channel, where you can just randomly bullshit with us about conventions you were at, where you got to play games with Matt Leacock,
Or
which
fight-
happened this weekend.
Or fight about details in Indonesia.
Details in Indonesia, discussions on why some of us do or do not like Great Western Trail. Yeah. All of those are conversations that have happened in
And the
last,
latest
week.
in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yes.
Yes.
Or the most brutal defeats in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, to be fair.
It's the only reason I'm still in that channel. To hear you guys hear about when you get wrecked.
Yeah. It happens. More than once.
But yeah, so, just by listening, you guys are supporting the show, and we love hearing from you and interacting with you all. And so, yeah, do that. I think that pretty much wraps it all up. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I am Jeff, destroyer of board games. Because all those board games got lost and destroyed.
Yeah.
And I'm David.
Goodbye.
Bye.
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 I got a max strength cough drop in my mouth. So
Delicious. That menthol flavor.
and the Benzacor or whatever the fuck it is.
You should just start smoking to also get your menthol.
Oh yeah. Because that's what Zach needs.
Yeah, it's gonna be close to
Cigarettes.
Oh yeah, that'll help the throat.
Yeah.
really well.
It really opens up the throat.
Punchboard Media, where we all
Bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.